Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
No, I'm gonna eat breakfast. Fuck off. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the letter. Last time we were here, we finished Hana's route with her being attacked pretty bad. Like, I think she had a seizure, basically. And then we learn a lot about Zachary's past. And, Ash still kinda sucks. The next 2 days rush by in a blur, altogether leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up and new unexpected acquaintances or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I have grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or paper has something to say on the names. Party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. In between that and the fuss that comes with, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabel or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Ms. Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Ms. Wright, Hana herself, though. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, a newfound friendship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although, with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. Can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too, if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practiced motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. Spooky, scary, ooh. It's the last one tonight for the set Ms. Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff that is. It's bad for the business no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however, she did treat me well, and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Ms. Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with, and maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. She shows it in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these helps. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds under the solution, is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. On a drawer? This accent's making me have difficulties. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it a night, I see spooky scary.
What on earth?
Her head is gone. Well, technically it's not gone, it's just askew. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
Common mistake to make, of course. If one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times, actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many in a short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. Horrifying. Not shadow. No. A woman. In her 20s, early 30s maybe. I see her brain a little bit. It's really gross. But with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts. Blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Lesion? Lesion! Bony hands grip Mrs. Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
Please cover. Actually, move a little bit to the right. Just a little bit. Cover her face. The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brush it off then. Trick of the eye, I told myself, for a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue, an overworked brain, the weather, and amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with every second I spend staring at this photograph, the memories in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. Ooh, Ash is probably just gonna be like, you just messed that up. You're just making yourself scared right now. Oh, but something happened with Hana, so that's just... But that would mean she'd understand, maybe. But I'm also scared that, like... Oh, I don't trust Ash. Hana. I don't have an explanation for what I saw yesterday, yet. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck or leave you wanting to flee or hide, finding a more solid proof than a person's smudged off face on a photo is the least of my concerns. Ashton will undoubtedly give me flack for saying that, or even considering Isabella's words and those silly tales about the place. The guy's a skeptic through and through. It'll take more than my account of him to even give this a single thought. For him. However, more than his opinion, it's Miss Wright I'm concerned about. Surely she must have felt something if those shows on TV are to be believed. Touch of coldness on her neck, or maybe the feeling of being watched. That's what often happens, ain't it? Outside the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about warning her. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life on my touch. The light switch gives a soft click and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
In hindsight, this is a bad idea. That is to say, rush into a client I barely know's home first thing in the morning, with the news of Ghost Lady potentially haunting their newly bought property. Oh, and there's a bunch of bizarre-looking photos of Miss Hana I've brought as proof, too. So yeah, dumbest idea in the history of my dumb ideas, all things considered. Could have asked Isabella, considering she's been dealing with this. Traveling to the outskirts of Anselm village at the crack of dawn with only my bike as company equally so. Personally, I don't think any of them would take whatever I'm going to say well. No matter how nice or accommodating they are, Ashton himself would tell me the same thing, and I really hope you don't meet Luke right now. Odds are, he'll laugh at it in my face for good measure, if he doesn't freak out at me first for not listening to his warnings. Still, there's a whole separate can of worms I'll open at a different time, seeing as I'm already standing at the Wright's front porch waiting for someone to answer the door. They have a doorbell? More than anything, Ms. Wright needs to know there's possibly nothing safe in this place. Warnings from friends be damned.
If only someone would answer the door sooner. Come on.
I try to ignore the looming presence their large ornate doors give off as I press the doorbell for the 4th time. Its shrill ringing merely echoes, carried off by another warm passing breeze. The first time I came to this place, I found myself basking in the silence it offers. Now the atmosphere is just heavy, packed with trepidation and tension. Isabel's right, it does radiate the creepy kind of vibe. With the image from the day before constantly flashing in my mind, the unease becomes harder to ignore as each second drifts by. Not wanting to spend more time here than necessary, I ring the bell again. Another long second ticks by without anyone answering the door. If this fails, I can always go to Ash. Not really the most sensible course of action either, but waiting here ain't doing me any good. For all I know, the Wrights could be out of town. As luck would have it, just as I'm about to turn my heel, a loud thump rises from the other side. It's followed by heavy footfalls and a string of very colorful expletives about one's parentage.
Didn't we have that bloody annoying doorbell replaced yesterday? That Irish guy just cost me a fortune and she can't even fix this nuisance.
No, it's Luke! Run away! Run!
And where the hell is... Your hands, if another po-faced prat is pressing their blighted bell, I swear I'll cut their...
Sup, Mr. Wright? I got some news for you. The doors swing open and a very irate Mr. Wright greets me, his partly rumpled appearance a clear testament to how early the hour is.
And who might you be? I don't recall asking the movers to show up this early.
I was prepared to fight... I was prepared to fight, Miss Wright. I was prepared to face Ms. Wright, the butler, more so. But Mr. Wright, I don't quite know what to make of him yet. He surely knows how to make an impression, I'll give him that. Albeit a rude one. I only caught sight of him yesterday as he's directing the movers. Although, from how exasperated he sounded then, it seemed like more yelling was done than actual giving of directions. Needless to say, I like to believe those instances ain't all there is to the guy. Ms. Wright, at the end of the day, did marry him. Standing before him like now, though, is a different story altogether. I remember what you said before. It's not going to be erased from my brain. Despite the difference in our respective heights, he manages to make it appear like he is the one looking down at me, not the other way around. An apology instinctively forms in my mouth before anything else when he arches an eyebrow at my lack of response.
Well, that's not exactly why I'm here, Mr. Wright, yeah?
Right, of course, the one and only. And what can I do for you this fine morning? Have I seen you somewhere before? Bloody peasants all look the same to me.
You ain't a looker, Mr. Wright. The only thing making you different from everyone else is the fact that you're in a suit.
Yeah, I'm actually...
It doesn't matter, I don't care. I've got someplace important to be at today. Just spit out what you want or be gone. I haven't got all day.
His eyes are sharp and expectant in spite of his indifferent tone. The very impression of someone whose sharp wits has served him well throughout life, the kind you have to carefully choose your words around. Disconcerting how a simple conversation can easily seem like a ruthless form of social maneuvering. I can see why Ms. Wright would want to steer clear of it, if only for a short while. And sometimes the only way out of the game is to be honest. Ooh, if I say photographer of luxury living, that might just make Luke go ballistic. But also saying I'm a friend also might make him go ballistic. But I feel like saying the photographer would trigger the part of his brain that's all like, you were hanging out with that guy instead of being with me. I'm gonna say that I'm a friend because technically she said it's cool. So, we had a little dance together too.
Sorry, sir. I was just...
God damn it. Sometimes I just want to look at... I got a plus.
You see, I'm a friend of Hana, and...
A friend of Hana!
Yes, sir.
His eyebrows shoot into his hairline at my answer. Hey, she's not racist like you are, Luke, so... Although it swiftly disappears under his dismissive gesture and a chuckle at his heels. A small frown spreads across his face before I can stop myself. What I said has nothing remotely funny in it, yet here he is, hugging an arm closer to himself in a weak attempt to keep his shoulders from shaking.
Did I mispronounce something wrong, or...?
No, not at all. You didn't. My wife, has never mentioned a friend like you. That's all. I suppose it's a good thing she's venturing out of the usual. Vultures and savages, all of them hiding under sheep's clothing.
I don't really get it, sir, but it's not really surprising she wouldn't talk about me. We just met yesterday during the shoot.
Ugh! I was trying to avoid that! Damn it, Zach! As soon as the statement is out, the immiscible air melts away almost palpably. His eyebrows crease into a frown and his posture stiffens. With how fast the atmosphere around us changes in merely the span of a few spoken words, I'm not quite sure what I can and can't say anymore. Like handling a ticking time bomb. Which is exactly what this man is. That's why Ashton wants us to stay away from them? If so, a part of me regrets not listening to him now.
Shoot. Who are you again?
No. Definitely not part of luxury living. If that's what you're getting at.
Zachary Steele, sir. I was here yesterday from the magazine feature about your home.
Ah, that Zachary, the photographer. I remember now.
God damn it, even when I try to avoid it.
Just when you think she'd be careful meddling around media types these days, she makes friends with one.
It was really just small chit-chat, sir. The usual. To keep things entertaining. The shoot did take the whole afternoon to finish.
Oh, I'm sure she was pleasantly entertained. She wouldn't be making friends with media types if she wasn't. No matter, she's her own woman. She can do what she wants so long as she doesn't do anything to ruin herself.
I was about to say yes, she is her own woman, and then he decided to finish it like that, and so now I'm just like,
I'm sure Miss Wright is aware of that, sir.
That she is. But we aren't here to talk about her, are we? What is this about today?
Actually, technically, we are here to talk about her.
The city's a long way from here. On push bike, no less.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to talk to her.
Don't put down using the bike, man. There's a lot of muscle in his legs. He's also taller than you. Just one kick. One good kick to the gut.
Of course. Here for another headline, perhaps.
Not exactly, sir. I'm off work. This is for something else.
That's what they always say. The next thing you know, your face is in the front page of every conceivable scandal sheet going all the way to the ass end of Plymouth. You media types have such an insatiable taste for gossip. It's almost amazing.
I only take picture of furniture, sir.
There won't be any of that in an interior design magazine, sir. I can assure you that one.
I take picture of couch, and that's literally it.
Oh, you never know. Well-trained hounds have an uncanny way of sniffing out things no matter where you keep them. I do admire the passion, though. It takes a lot of energy for someone to leave bed this early, let alone knock at someone else's door at this hour. That aside, unfortunately, you're going to have to come back some other day. You see, darling wife left not a moment ago. I have not an inkling where she went, or when she'll be back, so you're better off.
Love, is it the movers?
He stops speaking altogether, and the complacent expression he has collapses on itself. Slowly he turns just as his wife walks up to him with a step too lively for comfort, a smile too sweet to be honest. She's very likely heard everything her husband and I have talked about.
Going off somewhere.
I've got the few things I want them to transfer already. Marianne made this splendid arrangement for the music room and... Love, are you listening?
I thought you already left, Buttercup.
She musters a frown, a pout more like. The mischievous gleam in her eyes when she glances at me says all there is I need to know. I would have laughed at her antics if it wouldn't offend the other man. But as it is, it's better to let his wife have her fun without any reaction from me. I'm treading on dangerous grounds with him already.
Well, I most certainly have not left yet. I wouldn't be standing here if I did, would I?
Of course you wouldn't be, darling. But don't you need to be somewhere else today? Something with Marianne? Shopping, girl, things?
Oh, I'll be leaving in a few. Unless you want to join us.
To carry our bags.
No thanks, darling. I'm afraid my liver... Oh, it's killing me today. Ooh.
I thought as much. You needn't have to worry. I'll be gone in a few. It's just that I heard we have a visitor.
For like the briefest moment, he kind of reminded me of the lemon guy from Adventure Time.
What kind of person would I be if I didn't greet him before leaving?
A very gracious one, I'm sure.
Zachary, right? Zach? It's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, ma'am. I was actually looking for you.
Is that so?
Why do you say it like that?
What for?
A huge display of unprofessionalism is what it's for.
Shush, darling. Let the man speak. I'm sure it isn't anything like that if he has to come all the way here, yes?
It's about yesterday. The photos you asked, I mean. The copies are ready, but...
My hand stills as I'm about to fish the prints out of my pocket. A short second passes at that, which strikes me how I didn't think this through at all. How I'll go about telling her regarding the strange photos or revealing this to her in the presence of another person, especially this guy, constantly glaring and poke his eyes out. Her husband gazing over us like a hawk doesn't provide any sort of comfort either. And just like that, all the words I've been practicing to say on the way here inevitably fall stiffly off my mouth. Ms. Wright must have noticed my hesitance, because shortly she gives her husband's arm a gentle squeeze, a tender smile gracing her face. Unlike the first, this one is meant to appease.
Love, I think Hansi might need some of your input for the final guest list. Could you check on him, please?
Bollocks! Why in all Luxborn do I have to be there? Doing tedious jobs are what he's being paid for.
Because if we end up with people whose faces you do not want to show up in our housewarming party, we won't be hearing the end of it. Unless a heavy dose of liquor's involved. You know what the doctor said about that. Please do poor Hansi and your liver a favor,
He can handle that on his own, Buttercup. And my liver is doing just fine.
I'm sure it is. But I don't know, love. I think I caught a glimpse of the name Mitch Lakes, was it? I think it was Mitch Lakes on it when I checked with Hansi earlier. You should see for yourself. It was quite a list.
Who put that blighted twat in there?
And that's why I'm asking you to look over it before I do so tonight.
Very well.
But even with that promise, he doesn't appear ready to leave. Short of passing through the doors, he stops and glances back at me, all without bothering to hide the distrust in his eyes.
Luke, dear, I'll be fine. Go back to your butler. I'm not some pregnant wife you have to worry about.
Fine. I have to go to that little ankle-biter's career day later anyway. I don't see why I have to go there. Kylie's your goddaughter.
And yet, she has you around her little fingers, darling. That's basically the same thing.
If he ever has an answer to that, we won't get to hear it above the heavy thud the door makes and Mrs. Wright's own weary exhale, after she's sure her husband's out of earshot. She's nothing but apologetic when she fixes her gaze back to me, and I can't help but pretend the same to her.
I am so sorry you had to deal with that. My husband can be a bit trying when he really applied himself.
It's fine, Miss Wright. No harm done. It was my fault for showing up here unannounced. And this might be strange coming from me, but he does have the right to be wary. The press can be quite vicious when it wants to be.
Caught unexpectedly, they'll tear you apart. It's not surprising why he acted the way he did around me.
Sweetie, if Luke treats every journalist who shows up here like that, I'm afraid we'll end up with a harassment lawsuit hanging over our heads sometime in the future. Vicious or not, some sort of finesse has to be exercised when dealing with them. I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't too offensive.
Not at all, Miss Wright.
I only take pictures of furniture, so I shouldn't be getting this issue.
Besides, I don't think an interior design magazine would be interested in who harassed who this week. Unless it has something to do with fighting over tastefully arranged furniture. But even then, I don't think our readers will be too interested.
Oh, dearie. You've got a lot to learn. You really have no idea how a single tattle can ignite a spark in a crowd. Of course, at the end of the day, it's still the thought that counts. It's still a lovely anniversary gift from my husband. No matter. Let's just go.
She doesn't wait for an answer and immediately wanders over to a car parked some distance from us. Unsure, I find myself trailing after her. The chauffeur automatically opens the passenger side door as she nears, and she gestures for me to follow when she climbs into the back seat.
To... where are we going exactly?
Can I put my bike in the trunk?
I need to get out of this stuffy house for a while. Moving in, planning the party. It's starting to get suffocating in there. Luke and Hansi can have their fun while I'm gone. I don't care. I'm getting out because I can. Another minute in there and I'll drown.
My bike.
There are, of course, a lot of things questionable about her invitation. Why she's asking a person she has only known for less than 2 days in the first place is one. I mean, I should be the one who's super worried because she has the money and she could probably, bury me in a mountain somewhere. How appropriate this is being another. But the rest of it crashes the moment she shoots me an imploring look.
Please? I can have someone send it back to your address later. And it's just a trip to the city for some furniture, nothing more, I assure you. Marianne will be with us, and maybe you can tell me why you're here on the way.
Guess it wouldn't hurt. I might have to leave early, though.
Excellent, then. Hop in. That's what they often say, yes?
This can't be a good idea, but I really don't have any other choice, do I? Especially with the way her eyes light up when I agree to it. In my pocket, the very picture of her remains faceless. Fear. Fear. A voiceless shadow hanging threateningly between us, unknown to her. If someone told me I'd be spending my entire morning being dragged around half of downtown Luxembourg looking for furniture, I probably would have simply smiled at them. You're so silly. Then perhaps even given them a good friendly pat on the shoulder and wished them a nice stay. Not that I find anything wrong with this at all. On the contrary, this is most definitely a nice change of pace after weeks of getting bogged down by several freelance gigs, and shutting myself into my apartment whenever I can. If only the weather would be a whole lot nicer, the kind with less sun and more clouds, perhaps. With the mid-morning sun slowly beating down on us as high noon approaches, I can see why Mr. Wright skipped out on this trip. The bright side is, the whole thing seems to have put Miss Wright in a less somber mood. After the fifth store, her pace is considerably livelier, her gestures less guarded than the one she displayed at the mansion earlier. The presence of another person might have helped as well. Although Miss McCullough seems less predisposed to small talk, preferring to keep to herself most of the time, and let Miss Wright lead us wherever. She did acknowledge me with a small nod when we were introduced earlier, but that didn't make standing outside the store together any less awkward while we wait for our client to finish her inquiry inside.
So, interior design, huh?
She cast me a sidelong glance before returning to her notes again, her pen scratching faintly against the paper in quick successive strokes. Ah, there goes that. I did say I'm not any good at starting or keeping conversations going, didn't I? She doesn't look back up again, and I take that as my cue to stop any attempt of striking a dialogue with her, and keep myself occupied with some other thing. Except what we have here is just Lugsborn, its busy streets, people going about their day like normal, cars moving in and out of sight, heading to who knows where. Nothing remarkable, really. The ease with which a person can fade into the background here is reflective of the kind of city Lugsborn will always be. But the humdrum's one thing I learned to live with. Needless to say, it doesn't usually stay that way. There are times when it could come alive, make itself known, and reassert itself back to the world. However, these moments are few and far between. Then again, with what graces the news channels lately, I'm starting to think it's going to happen sooner. Can't say I'm looking forward to what it'll bring.
Luxury living, is it?
Oh god, it's kind of scared me. Her voice effectively cuts through my thoughts just as I count the 13th passerby wearing a hat today. Beside me, I can hear the faint rustling of paper and the clicking of a pen as she stashes them back to her bag.
Excuse me, what?
The magazine you're working for. It's luxury living, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You've been featured by them before, I take it?
A few years back, yes. For just some issues. My designs still appear from time to time, though not as frequent as before. Gotta have room for new talents, right?
I may not show on her face, but the pride is evident in her voice.
Good folks, the people running the publication. Tell me, is DK still on the editorial team?
I wouldn't know. I've only started taking jobs from them this year. Freelancer, you know.
Good man, that guy. Anyone in our field should meet him. He had a lot of things to say about art, all of them relevant. Learned a lot from him, actually, even if we both came from two different fields. I hope he's in a good place. I haven't talked to him in a while. Anyway, your portfolio must have been good if they gave you the job. They don't easily assign big features to freelancers like this.
I wouldn't say I am, but experienced, you know? The more you practice it, the more you learn the tricks of the trade. That kind of stuff.
I know what you mean. Still, you've got to keep up with the competition. Each year, a new talent emerges, and, well, you never know. Clients can be a bit fickle-minded with their choices. Believe me. Speaking of, do you think you'd be up for a new client after this?
I think so. Depends on how big the project is.
She reaches into a bag again. It's time to pull out a business card which she hands over to me. Marianne McCullough. Traley Rose Designs. Interior designer. xmail.com.
When you're free, send your portfolio to Chris. He's my assistant. He's been looking for a decent photographer to help with updating the studio's portfolio. Nothing urgent, but the sooner the better.
Not sure if I'll have the time to squeeze this in. But, alright, I'll give it a go once.
Marianne, could you look this over for me?
At that very moment, Ms. Wright emerges from the store. When I look back to Miss McCullough, a mask of professionalism has returned to her. Or at least that's what it is trying to be. There's a different light in her eyes as she faces her, a flicker of familiarity and recognition. I'd say it's fondness, but that would be too presumptuous. Whatever it is doesn't last, and it briskly swept under the firm tone of her voice. Tone her voice assumes.
Definitely. Is there a problem?
They said they don't have the colors you suggested. Do you think we can change it around for a bit? It might take a while if we insist what we want, and you know I'd rather not worry about this later.
I think it'd be better if I handle this one myself. Excuse me.
I just realized that gesture she makes is her fixing her glove. She walks into the shop without another word, leaving the two of us standing outside. As soon as she's out of earshot, however, Ms. Wright lets out a giggle and swipes the business card cleanly off my hand. She smiles, a bemused little thing spreading across her face, and waves the card in front of me. I wish she'll do that more often, the smiling thing. Suits her more than the other one she frequently shows to the media.
I look away, and the next thing I know, you're picking up women. On the streets, while the sun is high, no less. I'm not sure if I should be appalled or amazed.
Hey, there's no time limit to picking up chicks. I mean, why should you be restricted by time to pick up a tasty snack?
Whatever happened to the Zach I met a day ago? About as tall as you. Photographer. Quite the gentleman. To tell you the truth, I'm a bit disappointed he's gone.
It ain't like that, Miss Wright. And I'm sure Miss McCullough is not the kind of woman to let herself be picked up by strangers, let alone people she barely knows.
Plus, I'm pretty sure Miss McCullough has a thing for you, Ms. Wright, so...
Oh, shush. Let me have my fun. And didn't I say you can call me Hannah? This right after you introduced yourself as my friend in front of my husband. I do believe this isn't how friends address each other. Too formal, don't you think?
She gives the card back to me nevertheless, and with it her mood fades into a more pensive one. An odd look settles on her face, yearning, a bit wistful as she looks back towards the shop's display window. There's nothing remotely interesting in it for me when I follow her line of sight, though. A few trinkets here and there, a faux rug, a sofa, a wooden side table, and a lamp, all tastefully picked and arranged to resemble a typical antique living room. On second thought, it does look comfortable. Well, why they added a crib beside it baffles me. Unless, of course, the people they're hoping to market to are those who already have children or are about to have one, then maybe it is fitting. Peculiar choice of decorations aside, it does make for a nice icebreaker if it's not on the same level of weird and completely out of the blue. It's still leagues better than the awkward silence, which is definitely too out of character for a personality like Ms. Hannah's. Now, should I start the conversation? Do you think a crib would make a good gift? I think that one looks cute. What? Which one looks cute, Zach? You need to specify. The crib.
My sister just had a baby, you know.
She tears her attention away from the window and looks at me with an incredulous expression on her face. Like I just asked her to drive off a cliff. She relaxes eventually, but I can't get that image of her like that off my head. I hope I didn't say anything to offend.
Oh, what brought this on?
Nothing. It's just a thought. She gave birth a few weeks ago.
I suppose a congratulations is in order then.
Thanks. I'll let her know. Do you think a crib would make a good gift?
I'm sure she'd love that if she doesn't have one yet. Otherwise, maybe clothes. Or things she can use to care for the baby. You realize I'm the last person you should be asking about this, yes?
I think you're the first person I should be asking about this.
Oh, it's her first baby, don't you worry.
Or, like, the second person.
I haven't bought a gift yet since I'm kinda new to this too, you know? The whole being an uncle thing. For a long time, it's just been me, sis, and my grandparents. Now there's a little person who came into this world as part of the family. Who'd have thought, huh?
Please don't tell me you're jealous.
Oh, of course not. But I gotta admit that very idea takes a lot of getting used to, and you know, scary stuff like what if I drop her or end up teaching her something bad, or I just can't stop making her cry, or...
Oh no, I taught her how to say fuck. Something warm presses against my arm, gentle as it can be, which stops the rest of my words from coming out. Her hand, I realize belatedly. When I looked at her, there's nothing but warmth in her smile. She's been doing that a lot in the past few hours, and I can't help but return it to her.
Zach, sweetie. Stop. You're panicking. It's going to be fine.
I don't know, Hannah. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a good uncle.
I thought about buying a crock-pot, but I remembered that she's an infant and she couldn't even use it.
Don't be silly. You'll probably be the best one there is. Might even make a good father when the time comes. Whoever you choose to be with will be lucky to have someone like you, I'm sure.
At this, her expression softens, sadness fleeting into her eyes for a little while before she looks away.
I'm the one who's worried if I'll ever make a good mother. Luke doesn't seem to even want one of our own. How pitiful is that? 7 years and we're still at this point. I don't even know what to call it anymore. Now I'm carrying this other life with me while the father doesn't want anything to do with it.
Sweats.
What am I going to do, Zach? Because right now I'm absolutely at a loss.
Oh.
A beat.
Oh.
Oh. The realization strikes me like a ton of bricks suddenly bearing down on me. Wait, oh shit! You're pregnant! More than astonishment must have shown on my face because Hannah lets out a chuckle. The slump on her shoulders disappears altogether underneath her mirth.
Don't look so surprised, dearie. tied the knot 7 years ago, remember? Don't you think it's bound to happen?
She brandishes her hand in front of me, the unassuming silver band on her finger glinting against the late morning sunlight for a second. My only sunshine. She eyes it lovingly, almost tenderly, despite the trace of sadness in her voice. For all I know, there's an entire story there, I'd ask, but that'd be too inappropriate even for friends. It's not my place to meddle to begin with.
Or at least that's what they've been saying early on. My whole social circle would be saying it's a long time coming.
But the kid is something you want, right? Because if it ain't, then that's a whole other problem.
Of course. I wouldn't deny I've been hoping to have him or her for a long time now. But then, now that we're here, all of a sudden, there are a whole lot of other things to be worried about.
Like ghosts.
Business, a new home, public image, my own husband, and I don't know. I didn't really have anyone for a role model. I practically grew up with nursemaids pampering me every step of the way. What if it happens to this baby as well? Oh, I can already see how this will end.
Huh. I guess it's not just my sister.
What?
You and my sister. I mean, you're both having jitters or something like that. That's what it's called, right? First baby jitters? Mind you, she was really convinced she'd do everything wrong then. He even called me in the middle of the night. Has to switch places the day she found out she's carrying a new member of the family. Never mind how utterly impossible her request is.
I'm quite sure I haven't done anything of that sort yet.
Zach, I need you to carry this baby instead of me. I need you to take the baby and carry it for me to term.
Oh, you don't know that? My brother-in-law has been telling me things 5 weeks into my sister's pregnancy. Since she's one cranky pregnant lady.
Don't tell her I said that.
Man, good thing I found a place for myself years before that bundle of joy arrived, huh?
It can't be that awful.
Who knows? I think we'd better leave it for Mr. Right to decide, yeah?
Provided he comes around. He just sounds so repulsed every time the idea is brought up.
Then maybe you should say it to his face. No mincing of words or beating around the bushes.
And if he says no?
You haven't even told him yet. Besides, that's his kid. Don't people usually say fatherhood changes men? I wouldn't call myself a living testament, of course, but there ought to be something that will hit him in that idea alone.
A wrecking ball would be nice.
Laughter escapes me before I can stop, and for a moment I thought I had done something wrong when she doesn't join in. He's still her husband no matter what jest or complaint she hurls about him behind the media's eyes or in the presence of people she trusts. But when she does her chuckle, small hesitant sound at first, I find the rest of my unease slipping away.
Well, whatever it is, my point is, you've got no idea what will happen. In the same way, you don't know if you'll be a good mom. Trust me, my sister's been there. It's perfectly normal. If, my opinion matters, though.
A long second of indecision goes by. I could feel her eyes, filled with nothing but curiosity, boring into me while she waits for the rest. It's just a simple sentiment, but one thing I think she needs to hear for all the doubts she unwittingly places on herself. I'm just not sure if it should come from me. I'll be damned.
I think you'll be a great mother, Hannah.
If she has an answer to that, I don't get to hear it, nor does she get to say it. As soon as it's out of my mouth, the bell hanging over the antique store's door chimes, and out comes Miss McCullough. For more than one reason, I have never been so relieved our talk got interrupted.
Everything's been taken care of for tomorrow, Mrs. Wright. We'll have everything you requested delivered early. I've left them instructions, but I may have to visit again right before your housewarming party to check for a few things. I hope that's acceptable to you?
More than Marianne. This is a little early to say, but you did marvelous work with the mansion.
I'm only doing my job, ma'am.
Why do I keep doing that? I can't wait to see all of it come together tomorrow.
Needless to say, it's always a pleasure to hear a client is satisfied with my work.
Nonsense! You have every reason to be proud. I know you've already established your name here, but I'll still make sure word gets out, of course. I think I've got a few friends who might be interested in decorating their homes. I'll see if I can introduce you to them tomorrow.
I really don't want to impose, Mrs. Wright. There's still a lot to be done, and I'd rather be keeping an eye on it myself.
You know well enough I'll still do it. You too, Monsieur le Photographe. You better be the one taking the pictures for the event tomorrow, or I'll be very upset.
I blink at her, confused. Last I checked, I have nothing scheduled on my plate tomorrow. A couple of fleeting thoughts did cross my mind, like working on personal projects. But with the expectant expression on Hana's face alone, I've wondered before how they got Isabella to sell them the mansion, with all the paperwork and the loops it has to go through. Well, now the how is already standing in front of me, and it's one giant ball of persuasion in human form. If I had any doubts how she got around life, all of them have been dispelled right this instant. Hana hasn't said anything yet, but I already know what my answer will be.
What event?
Our housewarming party, dearie. I've already sent invites through your publisher. They should have informed you of it by now.
I may have probably missed it. I haven't gotten the chance to check my mailbox yet.
I am getting kind of confused with the timeline, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure this is before the whole Rochelle thing. Oops. And I mentioned it earlier, but it hasn't even happened yet.
Deadlines, real-life happenings, they can be pretty hectic. I'll try later, but they might have already assigned it to a different photographer if they haven't received my reply yet.
That's not a problem. Nothing a little call from me can't fix. I'll have them know I'm specifically requesting for your presence. It shouldn't be too hard. Just promise me you'll show up. I expect to see you both there. No excuses.
Good company, good music, good food. Of course I'll be there.
Lovely. I hope we have that settled then. I'd love to stay and chat, but unfortunately I have an appointment scheduled with the doctors after this. You two will have to excuse me.
Are you feeling fine, ma'am?
It's nothing big.
There's a short while in which her hand faintly touches her stomach when she says this. Her smile as she does so, a tender thing in itself. She might never let it cross her mind, but motherhood would suit her. The kids already loved even when they don't even yet have a sense of the world. Candid moments like this I wish I had brought a camera for.
Sorry we had to cut this short. I'd love to have lunch with you two, but, well, you two know how it goes.
It's quite fine, Mrs. Wright. I need to get going as well.
Is it somewhere far from here? I can have my driver drop you off on the way.
No, please. There's no need for that, Mrs. Wright. It's just within the city.
I see. What about you, Zach? We did leave your push bike at the mansion. Don't worry, I'll have someone bring it to your home later.
Nah, I live within the city too. A few blocks from here, in fact. I only visited earlier because...
The photos. Damn, I've completely forgotten about them. My hand grazes the side of my pocket where I've kept them since this morning. Sure enough, they're still there waiting for the whole world to see them.
Because? Zach, sweetie, you're zoning out.
Miss Hana, earlier, at the mansion.
Should I still show her the photos? Sweating. She hasn't even dealt with the ghost thing yet. Show it.
I think it will be better if you take a look at these yourself.
Seeing is believing, right? I reach into my pocket and pull out the photos, handing everything to her. Recognition flickers across her eyes when she reaches for them, and I have to stamp down the tiny twinge of regret in my stomach for having the gall to show it to her. Only it cuts deeper the instant both her and Miss McCullough's expression changes, and it's not a good look. To say she's repulsed would be a total understatement. All this time, Hana has been nothing but direct, saying what she feels, expressing what she wants. Away from the glamour and the camera lenses, she's a whole different person. But as she goes through each of the pictures, I can't get an easy read on her. Just explain, be all like, no matter how many times I read the picture over and over and over, but they just keep turning out this way, and I'm scared. Please get an exorcist to bless your home.
Zach, dearie, what is this?
Your photos. The ones you requested copies of. I mean, they came out that way, and I thought you should know.
Oh, I get it. You know, I've heard before that artists can be a bit weird.
No, that's not what...
Have you ever gotten that kind of comment, Marianne?
That's not what I wanted you to grab from this.
Not in my line of work, I'm afraid. Or ever, Mrs. Wright. I'd rather keep my personal hobbies away from my actual work. Less stress that way.
It's not an art thing! God damn it!
Well, I suppose it just never crossed my mind that the saying applies to you as well, Zach. But talent's what's important, As long as you make good art, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, that's... You see, when we had that photo shoot yesterday, there was something.
I wouldn't say I don't appreciate it. I did ask for copies, darling.
God damn it, I never should have shown those pictures. This is like Marianne's thing all over again. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
But would it be possible for you to give me normal-looking ones? Preferably with my head intact. I admire the effort you took to edit this, though. It looks authentic. Frankly, if I show this to some other person, they'd probably believe those silly rumors about the mansion.
Eyes grow big and watery. Please. I beg of you. Listen to me.
Good publicity, but not the kind I'd want for my new home. So please.
She drops them back in my hands like the very surface burns her.
If you could redo this, that would be wonderful. I'm positive you can do a better job than the one you just showed.
I'm hurt that you think that this is what I would, actually give you.
Just try to keep the edits to a minimum,
Yeah. I can, sure.
I never should have showed them. I thought I could explain it, but no. Why do I think I can explain these things? They never give me a chance.
You can take your time, of course. And speaking of time, I really must go.
She leaves without so much as a wave. I don't have to take a guess to know I've dismayed her, or in her own words, weirded her out. Did that ruin everything for me? Yeah, it did. I'm so angry! Beside me, Miss McCullough shakes her head. Hey, this is not an art thing! What are the odds I've also ruined my chances with a job she offered earlier? I'm sorry, Zach. I was really kind of hoping that you'd be able to explain. Also got the timelines wrong, so... If I had known, I probably would have just spoken to Ash instead. Very high, I'd say. It's a foolish idea in the first place. Miss McCullough departs shortly after Ms. Wright has taken her leave, muttering something about getting a quick lunch before fetching Baruthiel from Chris. I don't know what or who Baruthiel is. Must be important for her to be in this kind of hurry. And while she doesn't seem to be fond of small talks, something we can both agree on. Lunch sounds good, or a walk around the city maybe, but with the sun as high as it is now, nah. After how things with Miss Hannah went, I simply can't muster the appetite for anything at the moment. If I don't do anything with it now, I have this impression it would rear its ugly head again, and by then things might be too late to fix. What other choice do I have? Ash, Rebecca? In all likelihood, all they'll give me is a pat in the back and a Z-Man go get some sleep, you're at it again, from Ash. I talked to Isabella, but I haven't seen her around since she showed up at my apartment 2 days ago. Weird. There is one person, though.
Damn, I should have thought of that first.
Priest. As it turns out, I do have another choice. I'm not a religious person. I won't identify myself as such. Or rather, I can't. Sure, my grandparents didn't have to force me to go weekly. I'd happily join them. In fact, most of my childhood Sundays have been spent attending service. Simply that as you get older, the more experiences you get forming your own beliefs on things becomes easier, for the lack of a better word. And at one point, it just stopped. That kind of thing. Nevertheless, I hold no disdain for it. Sometimes it does help. When things are really, really bad, when the dreams won't stay where they should be. Talking does a bit. It's also a good thing Father Norman's, well, He's not completely the pious man you'd typically expect. My unlikely friendship only probably happened because he's the kind of guy who's cool with the young ones, as he so aptly puts. And he is, surprisingly. It makes him easy to approach. Like that one time with Isabella. I don't think he believes in the ghost kind, but there he went. Maybe he has something to say about the photos as well. It won't hurt since I've already gone ahead and went to Anslem. At daybreak, on my bike. At the very least, I know I won't get shouted at by whoever answers the door.
Unless someone does that inside a church. I highly doubt it.
Despite its age, the Luxborn Church is a thing of wonder in itself, with its high vaulted ceilings and intricate stained glass windows. One of the many gifts the Ermengarde family donated to the community in its early days. Or so I heard from Rebecca. She mentioned this once, although most of it flew over my head then. At this time of day, the church is mostly empty, save for a few visitors and ushers shuffling around, some muttering their prayers under the breath. The scene of burning candles and incense permeate the air, giving the place a general feeling of reverence. Pretty welcoming all in all. Even so, I keep the noise my treads make to a minimum. Disturbing the quiet feels like a sin alone. An usher points me to a pew in front of the altar when asked where Father Norman prays. He mentions something about the good priest not being in good health. Ever since he did a favor for a friend to bless an old house. No! No! I'm hit over and over again with my choices. My terrible, terrible choices. This is the first time in days he's left his room. No surprise there with the weird heat lately, even Rebecca caught something. Nervous little chap, the kid. Nevertheless, he leads me close to the foot of the dais with a reminder not to stay too long before walking off. Seconds later, Father shifts and stands. He doesn't seem to have noticed me, and I have to give him a little tap on the shoulder. When he looks, though, he's goddamn horrified. To say he's surprised is an understatement.
Stay away.
Surprise, Father, it's me. His voice comes out a whisper, almost inaudible in the hush. Quiet restraint and deference to where we both are standing. But the tremor is there. He focuses on me with wide, bulging eyes, copious amount of sweat appearing on his forehead despite the relative coolness of the place.
Father Norman?
Keep your distance.
Hey, it's me, Zach, remember?
Stay away. Don't come near me.
Must be the fever talking or whatever he caught. It has to be, because that's really mean and I'm kind of hurt. I don't recall ever doing anything for him to drive me away like this. In all the years I've known him, he's been nothing but polite, nothing but accepting of people regardless of beliefs or status in life. For words akin to a threat to come out of him, it's simply beyond unimaginable.
Go back to where you came from. Leave.
Why is her hair all sparkly?
Father, what did I do?
Leave now.
I extend a hand to his shoulder, meant to be reassuring, but he recoils, his ankle catching on the edge of the dais as he backs away. His shout when I attempt to reach out again echoes through the entire hall, catching attention of the few people inside. I try to keep a level tone, but with these strangers' eyes trained on us, panic starts to weave its way into me.
Stay away, demon. Go back to the hell you came from.
Father, it's okay. I only came here for some pictures I thought looked odd. I figured you might know something.
From my pocket, I fish out the photos and try to hand it to him. Instead, he strikes my wrist away almost like an accusation and sends the photographs fluttering uselessly to the floor. Helpless, I can only watch as he curls into himself on the ground, a sad blubbering mess, whimpering to himself. He tips his head forward and begins rocking, his hands clamped over his ears.
That accursed spirit, so full of anger and pain. All those horrible things I've seen. I can't sleep. Can't eat everywhere I look. Go away. Go away. Go away. You're not supposed to be here. This is a house of God. Be gone, demon. Lord have mercy, God, our Lord, King of ages, all-powerful and almighty. You who made everything and transform everything simply by your will.
A number of people have moved closer, mostly just to gawk. Thankfully, as if to save him from being an utter spectacle, two ushers come out, taking him away. One of them, the kid from earlier, shoots me an apologetic look. I can't even return it to him. Anxiety is a powerful thing. Firm little notion that clings, eats, and consumes you. I can still hear his prayers even as they drag him away.
May he keep at bay and vanquish every evil power, every poison or malice invoked against us by corrupt and envious people.
Did he have a voice actor earlier? Because I didn't remember him having this thick of an accent.
Then under the protection of your authority may we sing in gratitude.
It rings, hums in me as I'm left to pick up the pieces of this chaos. Back to square one we go. If there is salvation in this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears fill in the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. As promised, Ms. Wright had my bike delivered back to my apartment. At least she doesn't hold a grudge. But I still don't like the fact that she thinks that I did that on purpose. What does this say? Raise your glasses. Give cheers to the good times. You are cordially invited to the Wright's housewarming party. October 20, 2016, Friday. Or 28. I believe that is 28. 3 o'clock in the afternoon onwards. Ermengarde Mansion. Be there or be square, Hannah. Found it parked in the rack downstairs with an invitation and a note tacked to it, in fact. Be there, it said. If only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her. About that thing in the house. With a sigh, I let my head fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow, when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Where is Isabella right now, anyway? Belatedly, it occurs to me I haven't eaten anything since I left this morning. And an empty gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time and frankly a disappointment. I don't like it. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I don't know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the only thing that hasn't changed. The medley carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn, but gentle and soothing, so a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and the leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy, place where we were once promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa. I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There is only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks... Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip on his neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming on my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst. Something cold is settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter. All until it becomes too much. My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings with it the iron tang of blood. Thick, suffocating. filling my nose with a foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards and it slowly comes into view. Mouth stretched in a hideous smile and eyes brimming with nothing but madness. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. From it, her, the terror and death that her uncanny twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. Then suddenly the bed dips. Ofa! The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no time pulling it, a blanket away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. A bench on the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Lugsborn, considering its location at the heart of a bustling city. But in the early hours of the morning, it provides enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up a little later than usual. But knowing what day it is, one can't fault it for being a little tardy just this once. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head, its claws digging deep in what is no longer a safe place to hide in.
London Bridge is falling down,
Awful.
falling down.
It used to be easy, finding some pretense of peace under the guise of sheer optimism, following regular routine. Now I don't know what to make of it, and I wish that kid would shut the hell up. Sometimes it's easier to run, easier to hide when everything's falling apart. That way you don't have to be the one to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad with the movie, after all. It also worked when Ma and Pa were taken from us. Though the sentiment... Shut the hell up! Jesus Christ! Though the sentiment's a little hypocritical when you think about it. About my little talk with Miss Wright the other day. But that's just how it is. Maybe it really is better if I just... Oh my god, finally. The tiny voice gives me pause. When I look up, a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7, is peering at me. 2 wide eyes overflowing with what can only be natural curiosity one typically sees in children. I vaguely note the St. Goretti uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting.
Hey kid.
Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
She then flops down on the empty space beside me. Her little legs, still too short to touch the ground, swings in tune with the song she hums under her breath. Well, did your mama ever tell you not to speak to strangers? I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then Sis and I were both too old to play with them, but you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems to be a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, the one closest to the street, where a kid is taking shots of something above him. Doesn't look to be birds because all there is on that side of the park are buildings.
I don't see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter. Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Kid, I'm not the only one who's upset in this world. Get over it.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile is spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do, with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
No, not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
Yeah, right.
I highly doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're just scared, mister.
That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone or simply the truth in the words itself. I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisure walk nearby.
Why are you laughing?
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up on our next appointment after that, but he's right. And though I hate to admit it knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't or maybe there is, but that doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate.
You better get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, a brother calls for her, and I took that as a sign to leave. Got things to do, to face, the first few steps, they say.
Nah, I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
I give her a little pat on the head before heading my way. A small gesture of thanks from a stranger she doesn't know she might have helped. She might not understand it now, even though at such a young age, she already has this understanding of things. But maybe when she's older. When the world no longer seems too big for her.
But aren't you going to help me, mister?
You screw off, child! Demon!
With what?
Confused, I glance back. Whatever cheer our little talk brought has vanished under the shadow suddenly dancing in my eyes. This frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. And the kid?
What do you think, mister? Are you going to help me?
Bitch, I ain't gonna help you if you're gonna be like this.
Leave us alone! What did we do to you?
The response never comes, however, because when I blinked, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. But all that remains in there is the carefree smile of a child, none of the spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, huh? I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
No! Never. I'll never see you again! I see you, I'm turning the other way! I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple of passerbys as soon as I'm out on the busy streets. Going insane, this is what it is. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be. The tremors follow me even as I get home. I'd hoped a little stroll around the block for a few hours would help, but it was a mistake. Instead, I'm assaulted with more images of her smile, the loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the whole crunch that comes with every movement she makes. Even old memories have been sullied by her, and Ma's song no longer sounds as sweet as it's meant to be. In the end, all I got is a sinking feeling I'll never be rid of her image, and another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back, and for the first time coming home feels more than a chore. Only I didn't arrive to an empty room. because as soon as I open the door, I'm greeted by none other than...
Sup, Z-Man?
No, it's Fang. No!
I told you we should have called him before going here.
It's fine.
Oh, Isabella's here, so I guess it's fine. It's Ashton I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped atop the coffee table. Whatever proverbial stone has made a home at the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of him. But before any exasperation can set in, my attention is taken by the other occupant in the room. Isabella perches on the only other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, from how closely she's hugging her arms against her. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet somehow there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to have.
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Only after you broke the 13th one? I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man!
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And, hey, is that my...
Ash smirks at me because of course he has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. Pops in whatever's very likely the last chip in his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it on the nearby trash. From a chair, Isabella shoots me an apologetic smile as soon as the foil hits the waste bin with a dull thunk. Common sense dictates that I should be angry, but after everything, I'm fucking tired. Having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish the antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music for the end credits of a movie. We've likely been waiting for a while if Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? It's free food, you know? What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Ash only shrugs at the question in my eyes. I can't be the only one who finds this vibe she's giving off to be odd, and the guy has no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who...
She casts a brief glance at Ash, and in an instant, he sits up. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he clasps his hands in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
All right, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks.
A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait. With these two, the more you force it, the more they'll clamp down on it. But as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It's Isabella who breaks it first.
We just thought we should check on you. After what happened to Rose,
Please don't tell me something happened again.
No, nothing. None so far. And we're keeping it that way as much as possible.
Ash, it's not that easy. This isn't some...
We don't know that. Let me...
The bit of frustration in his tone is impossible to miss, but he catches it as soon as Isabella draws back. He allows himself a moment to breathe before dropping it for one less harsh, more tempered, gentler.
Let me look at this first, okay? I agreed to help, but you've got to let me handle things from now on.
I already told you everything.
There must be something we're not seeing in this just yet. We'll sort this out, but no more silly ideas and running around on your own. You're making people worry more than necessary. Becca, especially.
So everything's fine?
Depends on who you're asking. How are things with you? Anything odd?
Good, I guess. Admittedly, how things went down at the housewarming party last night threw me off a bit.
I'm not asking about that. Remember the letter thing Isabella's been yapping on about? I'm asking about that kind of odd.
I look at him, gaped more like. His serious expression doesn't waver despite the perplexed look I shoot him. There's a brief second I let pass as I wait for the heavens to fall somewhere. It doesn't come. The sky still bathed in vibrant reddish hues as it waits for the night to arrive. Luxborn is still the same busy city, and everything in my room still appears as it did a second ago, including the unnerving ticking of my wall clock. As if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have fucked shit up somewhere.
Well, the dreams, they're a lot worse than usual. There's a woman now, ever since we saw that letter. I don't know if it's the same one Isabella talked about. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. I really don't want to go back to sleep sometimes. Last night was the worst. Anyway, why are you asking about this?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait, stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Doing what exactly?
There's someplace we'll visit after this.
Too vague for comfort, Ash. And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What I pointed out gives him a pause, though, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses Isabella.
You know what? Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you. I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now. Have you two seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
The change in the air around her, while small, cannot have gone unnoticed, and it takes every willpower not to ask. Probably the only thing reigning in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it up either.
No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Oof. He grabs a remote and cycles through numerous channels until he gets to a news report about another guy who's been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Another victim on by the Anslem butcher. Man burned after room catches fire. Burnt alive this time. Oddly, no fire has spread, and whatever damage has been contained within the place the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Help me. Help me. Help me. Another murder, the authorities claimed. Isabella and I knew better. None of us shifts even after the report ends, but the room has suddenly felt stifling. Ashton's eyes have gone hooded with what appears to be restrained anger, and the remote in his hand creaks mildly under his grip. The stone is back in my stomach, tiny little thing gripping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. Small, weak thing on its own that wavers unevenly between the words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
When it fades, all that's left in the air is her doubt and fear, while all we can do is to cope. Is there something I can say to make her feel better? We're gonna fix it together.
It ain't too late. We could still fix this. There's 3 of us here. 4 if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared as she holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second it immediately softens and it takes me by surprise nevertheless. In those brief moments, it's like I face a different person.
I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Still in all, that's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this. The last two murders might just be similar incidents done by two different suspects.
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man. Or ever.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Suddenly, Isabella laughs. Though muffled by her hands, it rings light and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from her usual cheer she carries, but brings a welcome shift in the otherwise dreary mood.
Thanks, you two.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face but chuckles at the jest despite himself.
Why am I even friends with you two?
And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave mere moments close to sundown. But regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of, Only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. While it ain't any of my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. I don't know how to... I don't understand how long these things go. And it's been ruined anyways since last time. Sucks. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out of the crowded walkway, however. Ash especially. There's only his goal in his mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided on it long before they made the decision to drop by. But despite this, Isabella lags behind. A worried crease is back on her forehead as she watches Ash leave to get his car.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, actually, can you check on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to. Tell her I'm okay and No, just that. That's all.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it.
Neither do I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself.
Almost abruptly, she pauses, the gaze in her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long, distant silences from earlier. This ain't just because of the whole fiasco from the letter anymore.
I don't want what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
This one cut deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys on one hand and gestures at Isabella.
Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting.
Who's sure? Oh, right. Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours is just weird.
I'll see you later, Zach.
She spares me another smile, and as I watch her walk off. Only now did it occur to me that none of those she gave today ever did reach her eyes. I make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself and shooting me a confused stare.
Is she alright?
What? Who's okay?
Isabella. She's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier?
The scowl on his face says it all.
She's actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but...
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal. Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
What? No. Why would I?
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way, alright?
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you to promise I won't do anything. After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one, and I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a moment, but...
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, aight? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want. But please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it's the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, although his mouth presses into a thin line, he nods.
All right, stay safe, Zach.
When he stumbles into the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we can get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments as it catches me off guard, with Ma's lullaby still echoing in my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was. And the terrible gnawing at the pit of my stomach, it's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. And 2:45 in the morning, I find myself cleaning my photography equipment for no other reason than just to pass time. Though, if I'm going to be honest, it's not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Ash or Isabella soon. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised a call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with the concern stretching out the minutes far longer than usual, it's possible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it doesn't help that, when the clock finally strikes 3, my hand stills, and then I shit myself just a little bit. It'll be a complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight to my throat in that brief second. My whole body has gone motionless, ears straining for any further sounds. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I'm staying in, power fluctuations ain't anything new. Every now and then this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual anymore after a few years of living here. But this time, the sudden hush brings with it a stillness that raised the air at the back of my neck, set my heart beating hard against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant this place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber in my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools and begin gathering together the rest of my things, scattered about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filters, diffuser, phone, anything my hand could reach, but in the resulting panic I touch her instead, and it was really gross! Like in the nightmares, it's a scent that reaches me first, a foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with a heavy stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it closer to my body as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection to whatever's with me in the room. It won't, obviously. But it's the only comfort I have.
Hello?
I'll swing it. I don't care.
I know you're in here. What do you want?
Something moves behind me, soft scuttling over the walls, followed by the squelch and painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, patiently waiting for another movement.
Leave! Leave now! There's nothing here for you!
There's a brief moment of silence after, and for a short while I think my pleas worked. Then with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it are the sobs of a woman. Use the mouse and spacebar to take a picture. What? Am I supposed to be seeing something? The light flashes fleetingly one last time, allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it's once again lost in the darkness. I mean, that didn't actually look like a bad picture, I'm gonna be completely honest. All of a sudden, her tune changes, no longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I've mustered flees from my body at the sound, and the next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob and I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to mind and my pulse settles down. And yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. The moment we saw that letter, she's been after us.
I can't run. Not this time.
I'm gonna go down swinging. Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my room for the solitude of the park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering. Not even Rebecca, who has always kept her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It doesn't help that Ash hasn't said a word where he went off to as well.
Damn it! I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
Knowing him, he can be anywhere. But there's really only one place he'll likely be at this time. The sun has already peaked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I got there. There's Ashton first and foremost. Part of me wishes my assumptions are correct and he's really somewhere close by on a stakeout. But I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing. And even after I've made a round of the immediate vicinity, I could find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling him does no good either, considering how awful the signal here is. Can't be too far if he's really here, but if he is, he would have already noticed me by now. Instead, there's only silence. The kind too quiet to find any sort of comfort in. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion, oblivious to what's happening around it, a small island of stillness in the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Anslem feels at odds with the rest of Luxborn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legend still lives up to this day, and why she's still here walking its hollowed halls. And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously. But now ain't the time for fear. Even if Ash isn't here, I've still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home. And whatever grievance Ash has with them doesn't matter. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabella would want the same thing. I head straight for their door without a second thought. Man, it didn't work the first time. It takes a few rings to sound loud above the foreboding stillness before I hear footsteps on the other side.
Gordon Bennett, only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour.
Not again. God.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
What is it, that weird glow, not glow, but like mist around him. Before long, the door swings widely open, with Mr. Luke Wright standing behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. Like this, I've got no doubt why Ash would find him a suspect.
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't! Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
Before I can get a word in, he slams the door in my face and bolts it shut with much finality.
Wait, sir, you gotta hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there. Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Ms. Wright. Though, who am I kidding? I've already seen the look on her face when I tried before. There are limits to how far a person will believe in you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. And now I'm here desperately trying to save people, even if I'm aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house? Listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do? What do you want? You're already dead! Leave us!
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if a sane person's supposed to be doing that. The only thing I got after is the feeling of foolishness washing over me. Or perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of other options and any other ideas, I let my hands slide off the door surface and fall listlessly to my sides. My hands falling to my hands. I can go back to Luxborn. Try to find the others. Try to get out of this mess with them. Or let them know how much in deep shit we all are. Both sound good. Either way, my loitering here ain't helping at all. I let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. Quite a distance to Luxborn, but if I'm in a hurry, I'll reach it in maybe... The rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my ears for any other movement around me.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he's here, I've just missed him earlier. Already my feet are moving in search of him for the second time. It won't hurt to double check. Triple check, even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. If things aren't so urgent, if they ain't so dire that lives are at stake, I'd probably have just waited for him to show up again.
But damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
That's not just a petty criminal he can simply throw in jail. That is something beyond the authority his police badge could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down and chill. My breathing comes in short, shallow rasps by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him, and I'm beginning to think I'm just wasting my time here. But that's when I hear it. I'd recognize the melody in a heartbeat. Most favorite song. I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly from the house it's coming from. My feet starts moving before I can stop them. And there, as I circle a corner, from a room in the first floor. A single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there. Still, why I'll hear an old tune here of all places, I won't know. It's not an obscure song by any means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, death seems to follow the song around. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat at once. Whoever's humming might be. I don't want to be the pessimist now, but on the off chance that it's Ms. Wright...
Shit.
I shouldn't just barge in there. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me so in the exact same words. Might even write me a dissertation why that it's a bad idea he ain't so lazy. But damn it, god damn it. Someone could be in danger. Yeah, I'm not gonna be opening no windows. Sure, it might be helpful to somebody, but like, I'm not getting in trouble. No thanks. I already got yelled at by Luke. I'm not gonna get yelled at for opening a window like I'm some sort of petty criminal. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out, the half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right, though, the reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I going to fight back? With my camera? No matter where you look at it, that's simply asking for a painful death.
I have a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
Perhaps I should try the forest, make a round further into the gardens. Not a sound plan, but it's better than nothing. The woman's soft sobs have subsided now by some means, almost inaudible to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I didn't get to dwell much on it, though, because right in that moment my phone rings. A sharp noise cutting piercing through the thick quietude. I clamp a hand over it, pressing the button before the speakers are close to my ears.
Are you?
I only caught the tail end of the person's greeting on the other side, but I know the voice well enough.
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that?
Oh no.
Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place, and hurry.
I shift my gaze into the mansion, specifically at the window I heard the cries from. There's nothing of it now, not even echoes.
How urgent is this?
Not even chaos.
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
That gives me pause. It's a rare thing for him to take on that tone.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two, tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. This time we had a whole lot of ghost appearances. Surprisingly, and I feel bad for Zach. I suppose it might be more frequent for Zach because he already has a weakness that she can put her fingers in. Isabella isn't like that weak, have that weak of mind, but Zach has like some dark stuff from the past, so it'd be easy for the ghosts to get him. I'm still confused to why Rose died so quickly. Like, what are we doing that differs? Aside for, you know, me controlling it. Oh, nice. Are almost at full bar. Haven't gotten anything. Marianne. Dang. I feel bad because I messed up his chances for a job because I decided to show those stupid pictures. Ha! Lame. Whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Feel bad for Father Norman. I had a feeling that something was going to happen. I didn't realize it was going to be that bad, though. Did I already say have a good day and have a good night? Yeah, bye. It's so hot again. I hate this. Bye.